And I just wanted to say thank you very much for the support that some of you have shown with my project, Grow a Fruit Tree with Me. So the reason why I started this is because I stay close to UJ, University of Johannesburg, and there are lots of students that pass, and you don't know what people's circumstances are and whether they're hungry or not. And how great it would be for students who are passing, who are hungry, to be able to grab an apple or a banana or an orange or a pear, or an avo off a tree, or some mulberries, off a tree, and to have something in their stomachs when they go off to go and get educated. I mean, I still don't understand why there aren't fruit trees outside schools. I don't understand why there aren't fruit trees just growing, lining the streets instead of the trees that are being planted by Joburg City, especially, because this is where I live. So in poorer communities, near schools, near community centers, where people gather, and parks. Why aren't there fruit trees in parks? Come on, guys. I mean, I get it. There are massive farms who need to sell their produce. But if South Africans are going hungry, I'm not going to sit by and watch it happen. And I'm sure you don't want to either. So grow a fruit tree with me. Take the harvest, put it outside of your gate, or grow your tree close to your border wall where people have access to the tree so that they can just pick it and walk on. And when it's harvest time, take that basket of fruit, drive around wherever you are, and pass it out to people who don't have.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to another episode of The Price of Fame. My name is Lunga Tshuka, and I'll be your host. So tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen, is a multi-award-winning international actress, singer, musical theater performer, and a voice artist that has been working in the entertainment industry for the last 29 years. Now, I know some of you are only 29 years old tonight. Imagine that. But most of us grew up watching her on popular TV shows such as Laan, Isidingo, Tussen Duiwels, Arendsvlei, just to name a few. She's basically an African gem, a living legend. But tonight, we get to meet the woman behind the success. So ladies and gents, please welcome to the screen, Miss Ilse Klink.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Good
much,
evening.
Lunga. It's wonderful to be here at the Price of Fame. Really
Lovely.
great.
So much. I mean, just like I was saying in the technical check, it's so, I have to pinch myself, and I have to remind myself to be professional, because it's so crazy that I get opportunities to speak to living legends like yourself, and that we've been watching on TV for so many years, and have been influencing us for so many years. And now I'm having the opportunity to truly speak to you and get to hear who you are and learn about your journey. So I'm super excited about tonight. And I just want to thank you for being a guest and agreeing. And I'm sure that my followers and people who like to view the show are also looking forward to hearing about your story tonight. So welcome and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's get into it. So, with so much transformation and the world changing, and we also changing our priorities and changing our lives over the past 2 to 3 years, what would you say? What was your mindset coming into 2022?
Well, I try to remain as positive as possible at all times. Yeah. I once did a play where the director said, at the end of the play, there must always be hope. So I think that was the message for me, is that I always go into a new year with great hope and faith as well, that things will turn out as they should and that things will be better. Nothing ever stays the same. So my attitude was that of things are going to get better. And they are, it's happening slowly, especially for the artists and for people who do live events and for singers. It's happening really, really slowly, but the wheels are turning, which is a good thing. So I think that's always my mindset. I don't know how to be. I struggle to be negative. I mean, there are moments, obviously, but I struggle to be a negative person, because I think that you create your reality and your circumstances with the way you think and the words that you speak and your attitude towards life. I think that's what I've seen happen for myself. So that's what it was. There's going to be hope. There's going to be new things happening. People are going to emerge from the pandemic with new ideas and more creativity, because it challenged us so much.
Yes. No, that's so, you're so absolutely spot on. And just with saying that, because you reminded me of this book that I read, it's called Thought Forms. And they basically speak about the power of the thought, like you say, you don't want to have any negative thoughts because you don't want to project anything out there. Also, what you speak, and with intention, what you speak also out there is what you manifest, and you create your reality. So it's very important that you are aware and conscious of your energy that you put out there, whether it be through your thoughts or whether you're interacting with people or what you're saying to people, because you're basically manifesting your reality, and all of that is just coming back to you. So yeah, I totally agree with you with the whole positive perspective, and just trying to move forward. I also, it's also taken a positive journey this year as well. And also just started with my partner, we started a support kind of group where we also speak about these things and try to inspire people to adopt the same mindset as well. So I love that. I love that you brought that up this evening. And you've been in the industry doing a thing for 29 years. That is a very long time, very, very long time. And probably before that, you probably did things like school plays or whatever. So please, can you paint the picture for us how it all started for you? A very young Ilse being inspired by the industry. Who inspired you, and what started the spark of your?
Well, I think for me, my daughter always says, Mommy, you're so lucky. You've always known what you were meant to do. You've always known what you wanted to do with your life. So my journey started at the age of 4, where I used to, no, not professionally, obviously, but, the love of performance. So I used to imitate people that used to come to the door, in the old days, we didn't have these high walls and things. People used to come to the door and ask for things, and I would imitate every single person. When they left, I was that character. So I think that when you have talent, and when there are things that you are meant to do, it will come and find you at some point in your life, and I think that it found me early. And so I've always known that was a huge part of my being, acting. And when I was 12 years old, I was a very shy child. I never spoke much. And it used to frustrate me, And what I did was, when I was 12 years old, that's the beginning of puberty, when you're so shy and you can't stand being seen, you just want to hide, And we went away on this Christian camp. I used to live in Mitchell's Plain. Hey, I grew up in Mitchell's Plain. Yes, we're street Roanway.
I'm in Colorado. I'm in Spain, Colorado right now.
There we go. Yes. I'm from the plain, And we used to go to Christ the Redeemer Anglican Church. Anyway, so the school went on this camp. It was a standard 5 camp, or grade 7 camp. And there were 4, I can't remember. I was at Parker's Primary. So there were 4 classes full of grade 7s, And they had this competition. That was a dress-up competition where there's a little bit of acting involved, And I was a part of this thing. I thought, I'm just going to enter this thing. And I won. I think I won a chocolate or something. And the crowd was screaming for me. They were like, the character I played was Dumpies. And they were screaming for Dumpies. And I was like, for the first time, I understood what this could mean, what this was, and the feeling it brought to life within me. And I was like, I like this. Not people screaming for me, but the opportunity to release that creative energy and for people to see it and recognize it and to enjoy it. That's what it was for me. And then when I was 15 years old, like I said, I was still I was a very, very quiet child. I mean, the one guy said to me the one day, a friend of my cousin, he said, Macy, praat to say, I didn't even say yes. I said, you know what I mean? And anyway, so we moved to Pretoria because my dad got work up here. And then I went to high school in Pretoria, Loreto Convent, and then I was in the drama class, and I really enjoyed that, and I won a couple of competitions. Also, just like wasn't really focused on any of it. I just wanted to be a part of something. And then also my best friend at the time was a singer, and she used to do these competitions. She was just a fantastic singer. She now lives in Australia. But I think the purpose of the two of us being together was I had learned to sing from her unknowingly. I don't think she knew I was listening intently, and I learned to sing from her, and I think that was the journey that the two of us shared, And from there, I went to university. I had 3 weeks before university started. My mom said, "Listen, what are you going to do with your life?" I said, "I want to go and study drama." So she said, "Okay, well then, it wasn't easy, obviously, for my parents, because I mean, there's nobody that's in the entertainment industry. It's unheard of. And still I think a lot of black and colored households, when somebody says, listen, I want to become an actor, it's still a very foreign concept to a lot of parents. So, I completely understand the struggle. And sometimes it was a struggle,
Yeah.
Acting takes a lot from you. Personally, financially, you know what I mean? To be successful as an artist in South Africa can be very challenging. So it takes a very certain kind of personality that can do this, Went to university, finished university, and then I had my daughter. I fell pregnant in the end of my third year, my third year, and I had my daughter, and I was like, what am I going to do now? Because at the end of varsity, what they did was they invited in those days, they had the arts councils. They invited all of these arts councils to come and view the students, to view an audition. And I got offered a job in Durban, and I had to turn down the job. And, I was it was hard. It was a huge challenge now I'm a mother at the age of 21. I've got and I want to have this career, but now it's basically kind of over in my mind. And when my daughter was 6 months old, I got a phone call from the Arts Council in Bloemfontein saying, Ilse, we have space here. Would you like to come and join us? And there I was. I took my baby at 6 months old. I took myself, and we went to go and live in Bloemfontein for 2 years. And I mean, that was just a growing up experience where I got to do a lot of performance, which was really nice, about the old arts councils that we had in the past. And then, then I came back to Johannesburg in 1996, and then I did my first TV series, which was Tussen Duiwels, and it just went on and on and on and on. And here I am. I've been blessed. I've been really, really lucky. Not lucky. I work hard. Yeah. It's not just luck. It's your attitude. It's your work ethic. It's your how people view you. It's your professionalism. It's all of those things that has brought me, I think, to this point. Yeah.
And like, I love that. It's wow. Like, I love how you just made it actually happen for yourself. Like there wasn't any one to really like take your hand and be like, come with me to this or whatever. You just actually just put yourself in all of these situations, and you actually just had to believe in yourself. So I really love that a lot. Was there ever a time where it was kind of like difficult for you to just because it sounds like you were always just there doing things by yourself. Was it ever a difficult time for you in the beginning, especially with going to studies and all of that? Do you have any challenges, especially within the community, because I'm sure, like you said, especially with Black and colored homes, the previous generation, you know, they always wanted you to go in a specific direction, whether it be you be a nurse or a teacher or a social worker, that kind of thing, you know, limited opportunities for our kind of people. And the moment when we came around and we we're like, I want to do this, I want to go to the arts, you know, it kind of made our parents kind of nervous because of what they know from their time, you know, and they couldn't really understand that how we going to make a living from what we're doing. So with you in your community, you said your mother was very supportive, but like, was she supportive all the way? And how was everyone else in your community? Were they also supportive of you and your journey?
Well, at first, you know, when my mom was just like, "You've got to have something to fall back on." She, you know, my dad's the, "Hey, you go fly, man. You do what you want to do. You got to do. You got to have a goal." I mean, that's how we grew up. You've got to have a goal. You've got to be positive. You've got to say to yourself, "I can do it." There's no such word as can't. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Those were our prayers. My daddy didn't make us say gentle Jesus, meek and mild. It was whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So that was the kind of growing up that I had, you know, and I always, that was my journey. But when you're small, you don't recognize the value of those words you said when you were 7 and 5 and like, all of those like sayings. But anyway, so it was very hard because my mom was a nurse and she came from a background of a line of teachers. You know, everybody was a teacher and she was the only nurse. So for me to go and say, okay, I'm going to study drama was just unheard of. I mean, it was unheard of. And also to remember that at university, I was the first Black student to, I was at the University of Pretoria. I was the first Black student to graduate from the University of Pretoria drama department ever. And that was in 1992. Do you know what I mean? So you were a pioneer. It was very hard. It was very, very hard because what happened is that there was nobody else. It was just me. I was the only person of color in all the time I was there. So people didn't really understand where you were coming from. They didn't understand your circumstances. They didn't understand when you said you didn't have money for the train to come to university that day. The challenges they had, the students at the university had, was such a far cry from the challenges that I had. And I think it's still true, you know, people with a disadvantage, a financially disadvantaged background, still in this day have a disadvantage, and people with the resources, with the financial resources, still are able to do more, I think, and have less understanding also of what people actually go through. And then, you know, for somebody to, and then yes, I am. I'm the only actor out of everyone that graduated in my year. Everybody else went into producing, others fell out. There's only 2 other people, I think, that's in the industry, but on the producing side of things, you know. But yeah, you know, it's also family, you know, it's frowned upon. What, she wants to be an actress? What is that all about? You know what I mean? What a weird choice. Unheard of. Creatives making money, earning a living. How is that even possible? But it can be done. It can be done. Be professional. Do your work. And look, I mean, it hasn't always been easy. I haven't been rolling in the money, as it were. You know, there were times when it was really challenging, desperately challenging, when you're going, haven't worked for 3 months, got no savings. You know, people are calling and they want their money for whatever, Woolworths or you know, you can't pay the lights. It's real. It's a very real thing. And I went through those things, you know. And not so long ago, also, like when I was in my very early 30s, it was really hard, you know. So it was challenging, but once those challenges are over and once you've established yourself, I think it just becomes a little bit easier. Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges, but what are some of the sacrifices that you had to kind of like make? Because I'm sure, because your job is very unpredictable as opposed to the regular 9 to 5. So sometimes you're going to miss birthdays, you're going to miss important moments and things like that. And what were some of the sacrifices that you had to make in your journey you know, where you had to kind of like disappoint a few people and even maybe potentially lose some friends because of your career. Could you describe some of those sacrifices that you had to make?
Absolutely. You know, I think the biggest sacrifice that we as artists make is family. Always family. You know, especially my children. I have 2 children. My daughter is now 29 and my son is 16. So the traveling, I think, the being away from home, and I mean, honestly, it leaves your kids with an abandonment syndrome. It does, because you know, and you're trying to make a living, you're trying to be good at your job, you're trying to be everything to everyone, you know, and but the children, I think, are the ones that I think that got the hardest knock. And in the beginning, I used to say to my daughter, because now she's a little kid, and don't know. I'm trying to make my way in the world, and I am at the age of 21 trying to figure things out, and with a child, and so you make a lot of mistakes, you know. And we not often talk about it, but you know, she says, you know, I forgive you, mommy. You were 21. You were, you know, you were young. You were still making your way in the world, and you do silly things and you go, oh, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't. Oh, you know, I wish I didn't put this burden on you. But I think those are the sacrifices. Family, yes, you missed birthday parties, you missed anniversaries. My biggest fear was always that if somebody became ill and I was away, how was I going to handle it? In the middle of the show, you know, I've got friends whose parents died in the afternoon and they went onto stage, then cried their hearts out, did another performance, then went to the funeral on the Saturday, then came back to do a performance in the evening. And I was like, guys, this isn't brain surgery also, man. We need to be able to say, actually, my family is important. Yeah. I need to be there for them. And you need to be able to say, actually, no, I'm not putting my understudy or make another plan. My family is, at the end of the day, acting is just a job also. It's a passion, but it is just a job. And it's not brain surgery. So, you know, we must really see it in context, because also, I mean, my mom went through, she had cancer at some stage in her life, and I wasn't there. I wasn't there when she was going through chemotherapy. I was working all the time. I was doing performances. I was traveling to Cape Town. I was in Johannesburg. Then I'm here for a few days. Then I drive through to Pretoria. It was very, very challenging in that respect, you know. So, yes, we sacrifice a hell of a lot to entertain others. Yeah.
That's, it is. I mean, really family time, because like when you're working, it doesn't always mean that you're going to be working in your hometown, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Also overseas even for projects. So yeah, you do miss a lot. And your kids don't understand that immediately, you know, and they don't understand the lifestyle. So I can imagine how that could be like a huge challenge. And
and also, you know, relationships where people don't understand this job. They're like, why do you have to go to PE tomorrow? Well, there's a gig happening in PE and they needed me desperately, and I'm packing my bags and I need to go. People who are not in the industry really, really don't understand that. And those moments have been really, really challenging for me, you know, where you just got to go, hey, there's a gig happening in Durban. They've called me. They said, I need to be on a plane tonight and it's happening tomorrow. I'll be home in 2 days. What? Yeah. You know, nobody's prepared for that. So my kids grew up like that. So they know about it. But in a relationship environment, people are like, whoa, what kind of job is this? What kind of job is this? Yeah. But that's unfortunately how it goes.
Yeah. It's always like, how can they let you know so short notice?
Exactly.
What now? 2 months.
I'm just packing a bag. I'm going for 2 months. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
So, like, you've had a really successful career, and a lot of people will recognize you if they see you in the street. So I have a 2-part question. Have you ever come across people who like truly were invested like in you and believe that there's no difference between Ilse and the actual actor on TV, and then they start to ask you questions about your career, I mean, about the character's life and that kind of thing. And then the other part is, what are some of the most craziest things people have ever asked you, because of your career or due to your characters?
Okay, so I mean, that happens all the time. You just learn to live with it, I mean, the interesting thing is always, people recognize you, but they can't really, they can't put their finger on it. So they always ask you, like, where did you work? You worked at the bank with me, eh? No, it was Eskom. No, man, you worked here at the, these various places where and then you say, no, actually, I didn't work with you at Standard Bank for 3 years. No, it wasn't me. But they insist. And then you say, yes, eh? Do you remember Sandra? And then you start playing along, That's one of the things I do. But yeah, people like, what I was really afraid of when I played on Arendsvlei, I played this character that kidnapped kids. And she was a gangster, basically. And she trafficked these kids, and the vitriol that was spewed on the different pages, the Arendsvlei page. The one woman was said, I'm the devil's spawn. You know what I mean? And I think that people really, they really are invested, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is beautiful, because that's why we do it, to allow people to escape their reality. And of course, they're going to come back to us and say, wow, when you kidnapped those girls, I hated you. But so they trying to make sense of their own reality versus the fantasy of who I am. And I think that one of my parents' neighbors, he said to my uncle, I can't believe that Ilse can do these things, like kidnap kids, come on. And that this man, can I tell you that this man hasn't spoken to my parents since then? He hasn't spoken to them. And this is a man, I think he was like, I don't know what his career is. He's an intelligent man. But it's like, if you can play that character, then you must be like that on some level. So that, I think, was a thing that happened, eh? And, just weird things like this one woman. And you'll know the comments also. People are very, they're very excited to see you, but also they say things to you that they're not aware of what they're saying. So they'll say to you, you're so fat on TV. They don't say, you look taller or larger on TV. They say, you're so fat on TV. And you're so ugly on TV. They use words like that. But in reality, you're not all right. So they use, and they, wow, you're so old. Or they'll use words that's the words that the dialogue they use in their everyday life. And they don't understand that these things can be very offensive, but you just got to take it. I mean, 29 years, you just take it in your stride and you go, okay, right, it's okay. That's okay. Yeah. And this one woman, I remember the one time this one woman said to me, hey, Vijay, I knew I recognized you when I saw your teeth. You got big teeth now. I recognize your teeth.
You have a beautiful smile, by the way. You have a very beautiful smile. Like when I was like, who's Ilse? And I was like, Ilse Klink. And I was like, yep, that lady with a smile. It's a beautiful smile. I don't know what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but maybe that's what she was trying to say. But yeah, you take it in your stride. It's part of the job, Yeah. Yeah, but it's been fun. People are generally okay. Oh, and then there was a time I had an affair with one of the other characters. And this woman, as I was going up the escalator, she was like looking at me and she says, you must leave that man, eh? He's got a wife, eh? He's got a wife. You must leave. You must leave him alone, eh? He's married.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. I mean, one of the other characters or the other women that I know, Michelle Boertes, somebody smacked her. People get crazy, eh? Yes, people get smacked. Yeah, so that's the kind of investment. But luckily, that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah, you must watch it for your characters. That's so hilarious. I mean, like, especially the person that you said who's hasn't spoken to your parents for such a long time because he's deeply like hurt or disappointed in like, why would you do such a thing? And I mean, you play your
Child
character so well
trafficker.
that people get so invested. Like you say, there's a good side to it is that they so invested. They can relate. Most of the times, they can relate to the character, and through watching you and through watching the characters' growth, you somehow give them healing, because they can relate with their story or something like that. But then the scary part is when they be like, let's say you're playing a character that's not necessarily a popular character, people don't like the character, like you're saying, you're kidnapping kids. And then now people are, and also having an affair. And people now want to get physical with you, and that, for me, that's the scary part. Or people just saying negative things towards you or towards your life, speaking negativity towards your life. That's also the scary part. Like, I remember there's a comedian colleague of mine. He did the movie Skemerdans and he played a gangster in there. And one of his followers went to go write on his page, I can't believe it, the way that you spoke in this movie, and all of that stuff. She was just highly offended by the way he played his character. And I'm like, wow, you did a good job, brother. Like, she was so like convinced, But like, here's this woman getting so angry and just saying all of her feelings on his page. And I was like, shame, like, you guys have to go through a lot, especially with people like just being so raw, like you're saying like, hey, I like your hair, or like you look fat on TV. Like, I don't get it. And I think that's part of why I do the show, so that we can get to know the real person, because I feel like people have this idea that if you're successful or you're a celebrity, it's okay for them to be saying rude things or mean things that what they wouldn't actually love hearing on a daily basis or any other day. But they feel like if you're a celebrity, you're supposed to take it, you're supposed to roll with the punches, and they don't expect you to be a human being. Was there ever a moment where you ever felt like, you just need to take a break from the industry, like it's a bit too much for you, you just need to breathe and reassess or just reconnect with your kids, Was there ever a time like that where you felt like you just needed to just tune out? And what did you do to kind of
So, I just want to relate a quick story, So here in Johannesburg, one of my colleagues, she had just lost a sibling. She had
yeah,
just like days before lost a sibling. And she was at the local shop and I saw her and I greeted her and I said, hey, how's it going? And she says, really, really terrible. And she told me what happened. And then there was this lady that just came out of the blue and she says, hi, please come and say hello to my mom. She was speaking to the other lady, my colleague, she was just like, and this woman is, no, man, just take a moment, come and talk to my mother. She's such a big fan. And I had to stop this lady and I said, you know what? Please just be calm. Just be considerate. This lady has just gone through a crisis. She's just gone through a crisis. Please, can you be kind? She's not going to go and see your mom. She's human. She's grieving. Please, can you leave her alone? Do you know what I mean? You try not to be rude, but people do think that you just, because what we do is, I mean, when you're an actor, you expose yourself totally. Yeah, and they say acting is like turning around naked and letting the whole world watch you, because that's what it is. We're exposing ourselves totally. So people feel entitled to your energy, to the fact that you are resilient, to the fact that you must just take whatever they spew at you, whatever gets spewed at you, because, and people are different, some people just don't have, you encounter thousands of people, and people just don't have the, what do you call it, the emotional intelligence to just step back and go, hang on, this is a real person. I want a piece of this person. I want a piece of the energy. I want them to recognize me. I want them to see me, because I think that's very important for the audience and for people who come up to you. They want to be seen. You must see them because they see you all the time. So it's like an exchange of energy is what they want from you, really. And they want that recognition. And sometimes it's hard to give that. If you're in a dark space and you're walking around with a cloud over your head, and something's happened, or you've just come from an exhausting confrontation with somebody, or it's just been a crap day, and they just expect you to just be the light of their lives and the ray of sunshine, and it's very hard to have boundaries in that respect. So what I would do is, in that moment, I try as far as possible to greet my fans, to speak to people, to spend time with them, and to really see them. I do that, but there are days where you just feel like, oh, I can't do this, but you just go, okay. And actually you resolve the thing quicker than somebody going with a bad headache away from you and saying terrible things about you. Not that matters, because you've got to be strong. Eh? People will say a lot of things about you, and you can't listen to it. You've got to be strong. You've got to know who you are. You've got to be centered. You've got to be strong. You've got to know yourself. You've got to know the truth. I always say to my kids, as long as you know the truth, it doesn't matter what people are saying about you. As long as you know the truth. Nobody else has to know it but you. So that is where your strength needs to come from, because they will say terrible things about you. I mean, I've got people that I was friends with for years that said, oh no, we were in a relationship for years together. And I was like, bruh, I never even kissed you. Wow. But this is the story that you, as my very good friend, you spreading this kind of story about me. When we were just chummies. And they're like, yeah, no, we were involved for years. So people will say things, but it's like, it's okay. You needed to say that. It's okay. I know the truth. That's okay. But was there a time that I needed to step away from it? After Isidingo, during the time I did Isidingo, which was from 1999 to 2003. The fame then, and I don't wish fame on anyone. If one can say that, people used to follow you in the shops. They used to spy on you. They hide between the railings when you're in Truworths looking for underwear. They're like watching you, and then they follow you, and that was the kind of stalker fame that was happening at that time. So I don't envy people who are famous in no shape or form. It's very hard. You've got to go in disguise. You've got to go in, and thank God for the masks. I think a lot of actors are grateful for the masks that we were able to wear, But so that was I think that was the biggest time of my fame. And it was emotionally hard, because I was young, and nobody gives you the tools to handle the kind of nobody tells you how to handle fame. There's no course you can do on how to handle fame. You just got to figure it out. Excuse me. You've just got to figure it out. And that was so hard, because, I mean, you in your early 30s and you're going, whoa, you don't know how to navigate it. People want pictures with you and your child. They're pushing your child out of the way to get to you. They disregarding your partner. They just like, please, can you take a photo of us? Or they push your partner out of the way to get to you. And you feel like you're responsible to your partner for other people's behavior, for your fans' behavior. And you're not responsible for other people's behavior. If somebody behaves in a particular manner, it's not your responsibility. So you always feel like you have to protect the people that you love and the ones that you're involved with. And that was really hard, that was really hard when you had to apologize to the people that you love for other people's behavior. That's that was hard. But like I said, I've never wanted to leave the industry, but I was grateful that my fame had died down quite a lot.
I mean, just to like balance your regular life, because I'm sure like I have this thing when I'm done, because when I'm done doing comedy on stage, I just want to step off, and then I feel like I want to just disappear into the crowd again. I don't want people to know it. And sometimes even with like I used to a lot like duck away after a show, and duck away that people don't, because I don't want people coming to me afterwards, because the energy I just don't know, it feels a little bit overwhelming. And for me, it's like, okay, it's done. I left that there. I'm just being a regular Lunga now. I'm just being another citizen. Like you're saying, you just need to do some shopping, or you're trying to have lunch with your family, and you're just trying to do some regular things that you have to get done. But they see the artists, and then you must now turn on and be energetic for all of these people and every store that you're gonna go into. Like I can only imagine how tough that's been. And it's well, in this, like, out of all of the roles and all of the project that you've done, what's some of the most your favorite roles that you've ever played, and if you could ever play again, if you could ever do it again, you would do that role?
So the character that I played in Arendsvlei,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, she was so complex. And I think that's what an artist wants, eh? You don't want a character that you can identify with so much quick. You want to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into the psyche of this character and go, what is going on in this woman's mind? She's so evil. She is
yeah,
so far away from who I am. Oh, and the thing is, as an actor, you must never judge your character, because if you judge your
yeah,
character, you start playing, because Dorothy was the character that I played. You've got to be honest to the character. That character was written a very specific way by the
mm,
writer. That character has got a role. So you can't stand in judgment of what that character does. Oh, hell
yeah,
no. You can't
yeah,
bring down the performance because Ilse's too afraid of what the people are going to say. Hell no.
yeah,
You got to go there. If you're
yeah,
going to play a baddie, you've got to go there and you've got to leave all your ideas about people liking you behind. You've got to be able
yeah.
to lose neighbors about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
um, so I think for me, Dorothy was a really, really lovely character that I play. And then last year, the years of the pandemic, I can honestly say I played the most incredible characters. 2020, 2021. Oh, it was wonderful. It was a
mm,
feast of acting for me, and so the other character I played was Maggie, and she
yes,
was a housekeeper on this farm. And I was like, yo, this is far away from who you are, Ilse. How are you going to? And once again, you cannot judge your character. This
yes,
is a person, this is a real person. You are
yes,
representing an entire group of people. You are representing a real person. So
yes,
you can't judge, and you can't let your own pride and your own ego stand in the way of your character. So
mm,
I would say Maggie from Nerens Noord-kaap, and Dorothy from Arendsvlei, sorry. Those were the
yeah.
two grandest characters I have enjoyed dishing up for myself. Yeah.
I love your perspective, and I feel like my heart wants to disagree with to a certain extent, and I'm not saying that you're wrong on anything. It's just that what I mean by disagree, I feel like there's a line there where I will draw in terms of what character I'll play, in terms of just like you said, because I will judge the character. I think I will, because because I want to. The thing is, if I get the character, I want to understand it properly. I want to do it. I want to, if they say this person, he has a bit of a hunch and all that, I really want to get into it. Like people say method acting. I want to try and think like this person and get into all of that. So if it's a character that I don't necessarily agree with as with my models and as a person, I feel like I'll find some difficulty having to play that. For example, and I always made this example with other actors also, where we spoke about playing characters. I say, like, for example, if I had to play a rapist, I'll be like, nah, I'll probably turn down that script, because I don't know, I can't get into that, even just pretending, and just like having that traumatic experience, doing that the whole thing, like doing the whole traumatic scene. I can't do that, I can't also like be professional in a state like that, so I feel like it will really mess with me. And yeah, and like, when is there ever a character that you feel that you kind of like also draw the line, where you wouldn't play a character like that, because kind of like sometimes also, I know I feel like sound like I'm jumping a lot, but I'm just remembering what Brighton Goma also said, that when he played his character, it kind of also took a toll on his mental health, and he kind of like needed some time to like go for therapy after that. So would you would you take a character that kind of puts you in a position where you would have to go for therapy afterwards, or do you also have like, no, this is where I draw?
So this is I think this is the ultimate challenge. I think you, and it's like, it's different for everyone. I've been doing this for 29 years. And when people employ you, they see you in a very specific way. There's a type. They see you as a warm, motherly character. She's soft, she's this. Oh, she can play this so lovely. But for you as an actor, you do need a challenge. Otherwise, you get bored. You need a challenge. And to be able to play characters that are way out of your own scope is a creative challenge and an emotional challenge. Because yes, you cannot judge the character. And there was a character that I did play in a play called Scorched. And the character's name was Nawal. And Nawal was raped by her son. It was a 3-hour long play. And you see her going through all of these emotions. And in the end, you discover that the child that she loved so much, the child that was taken away from her and put in an orphanage and grew up as a sniper and a hard character, and who had caught her and she was a rebel, and she was part of the rebellion in a particular country, and they had caught her, and he used to come and he used to rape her, and it was her son. It was her own son, her long lost son, that had been taken. And one of my friends is a psychologist, and he said, Ilse, did you guys debrief after that show? Did you guys debrief? Did you? And this is the problem. And I think, and I said, no, but there was always, you take hours and hours to get rid of that person that embodied your soul for 3 hours, because also your subconscious and your subconscious doesn't know that this is not happening to you. Your subconscious thinks this happened to you, because as an actor, that's why I say you've got to be a strong person. You go through all of the emotions because to be able to play that, you've got to really feel it. You've got to be in the moment. You've got to be there. So this is why I also think, and this is also one of the things nobody ever teaches you, how to debrief after a show. And that's why a lot of actors go to the bar afterwards. They go to the bar and they drink. They drink because it was so heavy to go to those spaces, to try and bring out this performance and to feel all of these emotions, because you feel it. You feel it when the audience gasps and they hear, he was my son. And she finds out, they watch the character find out it was a son that was raping her. You hear the gasp, people go, oh, in the audience, and you feel it, because we are energy. And that's the energy we are translating as actors. That is the energy that we're giving, and it's the energy it's a hard job. And that's why I say people go to the bar, people need to escape, but we don't go to psychologists, and we should. It should be part of our routine. It absolutely should be part of our routine as actors, and it should be mandatory, actually. You know what I mean? There should be it should be part of what they teach you at varsity or at any acting school, that you need to debrief. You need to sit with your friends. You need to spew it out to each other. You need to, it's like a cool down after an exercise. After you warm up, you do the show, you cool down. You cool down by debriefing. And you speak about it and you cry and you let it out because it's hard. And I always say, you've got to be a little bit messed up in your mind to be an actor, hey? You've got to be a little bit cuckoo.
To be able to switch off and go into different realities, and like completely be like present in a different reality mindset and everything like that. You need to be able to switch off,
and you carry those characters with you. And I remember when I was younger, I really struggled to divorce the character, and then I'd come home from a show that I was doing for 2 months, and there's an anger, I'm always angry, I'm always like edgy, I'm anxious, maybe I put the plate down too hard, or maybe I don't know what's going on with me. When you're younger, you just don't know these things, and as you get older, you're like, oh, okay, I was carrying the energy of that. Okay. And as you let it go, you realize, oh, okay, now I'm more relaxed. But you carry that those people are with you. Your mind doesn't know that you weren't pretending, because acting is not pretending. Acting is being. You have to be that person to relay a performance. So your subconscious doesn't know that you were acting. You were being that person in that moment. So
I mean, and like just the way you were describing, I totally agree with you, because I could actually literally picture, like, on every production set, there should be a therapist, or there should be time where you could go to this person, and then you go to a room and then you just release or whatever, and where they give you where they say certain things to help you calm, just like you were saying, let it go. And that was the character now. Or even breathing exercises, that you could do that, because like you said, the subconscious mind doesn't know that you are acting. So it's still sending the body into shock or into trauma and all of those things, and they said cut already, but here you are, your hands are shivering, you don't have an appetite, you're still jittery in some way, because you're still manifesting the character, so sometimes there are little tricks and breathing exercises that people could do. And I 100% agree with you that it's very important that production should invest in these kind of support and care for the actors, because like you say, not everyone's going to go to a psychologist, because we feel like, why must I, and especially if you feel like, as an actor, you're like, no, I just did this role, I just need to I just need to sleep,
I just shake it off. You just shake
it off.
I'm gonna take a long hot bath.
Yeah, boys' night or late night, shake it off. And there also, you are like attacking your own mental health at the same time.
Correct. And this is one of the things I discovered last year. I mean, it took me many years to discover this. When we do dialogue, when we say dialogue on paper, all of the characters are always speaking their truth.
Yeah.
So in every scene, a character's speaking their truth. They're not hiding. They're saying things as it is. Now you've been doing this for years and years and years and years. And you as a person are going, hang on, you can speak your truth. And people don't understand that. Sometimes there's no off button with you, and you're saying things that you believe, because all your life you are speaking a character's truth. So in your life, it starts to translate, and you go, what? But why is this person upset now? I must tell them the truth. I spoke my mind. I spoke the truth. And in those moments, you got to go, oh, hey, this is not dialogue, but you also need to be a little bit conservative with the things that you say, because people don't want to hear the truth sometimes. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't necessarily. So, you've got to be very wary of the fact that just because you speak the truth all the time of different characters, and you speak their mind all the time, you've got to, and that was an interesting insight that I discovered last year, that people are not ready to hear the truth, and you really need to be emotionally intelligent enough to spot those moments where you go, hang on, that was too honest. You know what I mean? That was too honest. Yeah.
And is there, I mean, with all the roles that you've played, and like you told us some of your most iconic roles that you've played that you'll always remember, is there a role that you feel like you haven't played yet that you're so dying to play, it's kind of like your dream role?
I want to do an action movie, man.
Yeah, yes,
Lekker skopskiet en dode.
yeah. I love it.
I don't think my body will allow it, but never say never.
No,
I want to do some stunts, man. I want
yeah,
to. So it's not specific. It's not a specific role. It's a
yeah,
specific kind of thing that I want to do. I
okay,
want to do an action movie.
yes. I love that. I love that you said that. And I think
Uh,
it's so interesting for everyone knowing you for so many years, now seeing you, this person chopping people here and working with guns and everything like that. That'll be so cool. I love that you
yeah.
said it was like my biggest role is to be also in an action movie, but like a superhero movie, one of these Marvel movies, just being some kind of superhero there. So I feel you. And it's because of the action. I want to, racing
Yes.
cars and kicking
Yes.
and those things, martial arts. I love that.
I
I
mean, it's
love
a
that.
whole different set of skills you would need to learn,
Yes.
eh? And I'm
And
up for
like,
it, eh?
yes. And the thing
I'm
is, they
up
will
for
teach
it.
you. They teach you, obviously. So they train you all these things. So you'll know exactly,
Yes.
how to do a few things, just to like, hey, that'll be so cool. That'll be so cool.
We must do an
I
action
wish you
movie
all the best.
together.
All the best. I hope that you get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really awesome. All right. Ilse, thank you so much for your time. It's been a lovely hour speaking to you so much. And I wish that I just had a little more time just to indulge and learn more about you, but I don't want to be unfair to you. So I have to bring it down to my final question that I ask all of my guests, right? And this question is, if I were to put you into a time machine and dial it back to a time where you feel comfortable speaking to a younger version of Ilse, a time where you really needed some guidance and support and support and just some advice or just someone to just hold your hand. And it's the Ilse of today, having walked the journey, having learned the lessons that you've learned, being the person that you are today with all the wisdom. I'm giving you 5 minutes with a younger version of yourself. What would you say to her?
It's going to be okay. Everything will work out as it should. Don't panic about it. There's some things that you just are never going to be able to control, and it's going to be okay. And also, like, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the things that you think you're doing wrong, or the things that you, free yourself. Be free and forgive yourself. I've forgiven the younger version of myself, for all of the misgivings, all of the things that she's done. She's
Yes,
forgiven. And it's going to be okay. It's always going to be okay.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
very
it.
and like one of the most powerful things that you could ever say is to forgive yourself, And I think because like as a lot of us as adults, we kick ourselves and we hold this anger towards ourselves for not knowing better or not knowing how to process certain things, when we were a lot younger and for the mistakes that we did. And
Yes.
all of those things had lessons, and without that we wouldn't have been this wise today. So the very, very most powerful message and important lesson is to forgive yourself. So thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. Truly appreciate it. Ilse, thank you so much for coming to the Price of Fame. Thank you for being a guest. I really enjoyed that. Know that my followers and the viewers who have tuned in tonight also enjoyed you and enjoyed themselves watching tonight. Is there anything that you feel like you would love to share that I perhaps didn't give you the opportunity to share in the conversation that I might have left
Yeah.
out?
Well, for me, it's, I never, just don't give up on your dreams, guys. Just don't. You're not here for speck and bunchies, You're
Yeah.
here for a very specific reason. Find your purpose. Always have a purpose, always have a goal, and drive yourself towards it, because it's there. We all have something special about us. Find your special, and don't just sit around looking at your special. Do something with it. Do
Yeah.
something with it. It's going to make you happy. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's all I've got to say. Thank you, Lunga. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Ilse. And we are looking forward to seeing you in that action movie, being a lead role, kicking butt here, being some mob boss woman, don't mess with me, speak small talk on the phone, like, yeah, whatever. I love it. Looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Miss Ilse Klink. Thank you for being a guest on The Price of Fame tonight. I truly enjoyed you. Yeah, time's up, and this is where I send you off, and may you have a lovely evening and all the best with your career moving forward. Thank you so much. Good night to you.
Thank you to you and your guests. All the best, Lunga. Bye.
Bye. Good night. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. There's Miss Klink herself. Love this episode. I truly enjoyed a love a story, and I learned so much from a story as well. For those of you who would like to follow us, please follow me on Facebook. That is Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. That's Lunga Tshuka, the Energizer Funny. On Instagram, you can catch me at Lunga Tshuka. And if you want specific snippets of The Price of Fame season 1 and into season 2, there's another page on Instagram where you can go to The Price of Fame ZA. The Price of Fame ZA. The link in the bio will take you straight to my YouTube page where you can like, share, subscribe to my channel where you'll find all the extended episodes of season 1 up until season 2. We've also extended our streaming platforms for your streaming pleasures. So now you can catch us on Spotify, Apple, as well as Anchor FM for your audio streaming of The Price of Fame. And when you're at Anchor FM, holler at your boy. Give me a voice note. Let me know who you'd like to see on the show, or just say something if you want to be heard as be seen on the show. Cool. That's it from me. My name is Lunga Tshuka. This is The Price of Fame. Good night.